how the sun works is all energy. How the earth works and what it is all energy. Now, energy is, he feels, I feel, and I've talked with quite a lot of really good scientists, he knows, energy is what we all are. We happen to be physical. I can touch myself and squeeze my finger. I can pick up my solid crystal. But it's only energy that's going slower than the incredible energy which is enabling us to speak across the ocean through the internet. But its energy is just working at a different speed. So I help people to connect back to Mother Earth, as we say, and Father Sun. I've never had, in 30 years, I've never had somebody who didn't do it.
Hey everyone, it's Amy Lynn Durham, and you're listening to Create Magic at Work. Create Magic at Work is on a mission to equip senior leaders with tools they need to be a true quantum leader and actually understand what that means. Improve employee engagement, retain top talent, and transform your workplace culture to have less drama and stress. So let's start making magic. Hi everyone, welcome to Create Magic at Work. Today in this episode, it's going to be something insightful and fresh that I'm bringing to you. As you know, at Create Magic at Work, we are all about inclusion of all kinds and the magic, of course. So today, your guest that's here for all of us is Elen Sentier. And I ran across Ellen on LinkedIn somehow, and her work just really intrigued me. And so we started connecting. And so let me tell you a little bit about Ellen. She's a 21st century shamanic business coach. And she weaves British native shamanism, modern psychology, and storytelling to help leaders get the edge they need by thinking outside of the box. So talk about going to someone that helps you think outside of the box for your business or for your work or for your career, hiring a shamanic business coach. That sounds amazing to me. So Ellen, welcome to Create Magic at Work.
Thanks very much, Amy. It's great to be here again. I really enjoyed our last chat, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to just bring a fresh topic to everyone listening that sounds exciting. So why don't we start off in this way? Can you tell us what is British native shamanism and how do you use that with business?
Yes. Lots of people think that Britain and quite a lot of Europe don't have a shamanic tradition, because we're used to hearing about South and North America. We're used to hearing about places in Russia and the Finn people and the Australian people, and occasionally the African people, and very occasionally the Japanese and Chinese. But we have always had one here in Britain too. And my family have been practicing that for as many generations as I know we've had, which is one hell of a lot, goes back a long time. So it's not a new thing, and it's not a reinvention, which many things can be. This is the old stuff. And for instance, my aunt in the village where I grew up, she was guardian to the sacred well, which was actually built into the wall of our garden. And that well history goes back 4,000 years. I looked that up, checked it up in the British Library in London, and saw how the stories and everything brought it through. And it used to be a great big pilgrimage place where people would come because the waters would cure you. So that's just a little tiny thing that, yeah, it's here, but we've had to keep it hidden for 2,000 years because it hasn't been safe, as many Indigenous people feel. So it's here. And it's similar to ordinary. That was a rubbish word. It's similar to other people's shamanism. And it comes out of nature. It comes out of working with nature, working with our planet. And all shamanism does that. Surprisingly enough, when you work with nature and when you connect to the planet, then it actually makes a difference to your business too. I've been doing this all my life. My first 20 years were in corporate with our Ministry of Defence, which is huge and vast. And I was in personnel policy, financing jet fighter engines, and finally ending up being a systems analyst and systems designer, designing relational databases. So that's ordinary corporate stuff, that we've all seen around and may have been. But I was able to lead my teams and help my bosses to understand that if we, say, did a little, let's just sit quiet for a moment at the beginning of a meeting, and then there's ways of actually just connecting with all the people who are there, you can make that meeting go a hell of a lot better. I used to have to sit and chair meetings between, say, senior members of the Air Force, senior members of the Navy, and the Treasury. And like everybody's treasury in every country, it's, I'm not giving you any money. And these guys wanted it, and I need the money more than he needs the money, whichever way around it was. I had to chair this. And using the ways that I now teach business people to use, I could help it to go smoothly. So that's just a little bit of what it is and how it works.
Yeah. Thank you. That was an amazing story. When I think of a shaman, I think of someone so that can maybe walk between different worlds.
Yes.
For someone listening that this is a brand new concept to them, how would you describe what a shaman is?
Someone indeed who walks between the worlds. That phraseology is deep in British shamanism. One of our famous shamans from about 1100 and spelling mistake, a long time ago, 1,000 years ago. He is a real person, famous person, and he was called Thomas of Erceldoune. And he could do all of this stuff, did do all of this stuff. If you know any British folk songs, you may know about him through one called Thomas the Rhymer. And he was one of the first people where it was written down. He said, what we do is walk between worlds. So the phrase in our country comes from True Thomas, as we know him as. And walking between worlds means I can be with other world. I can have my guides around me, as I do at the moment. And I can also be here talking to you, Amy. And I'm conscious. I'm not off in a trance. I'm not behaving weirdly, particularly. And I'm, yeah, I know. And I have my guides here. And I also, I particularly work with amethyst. So I've got an amethyst crystal beside me, which Amy saw before. And so I'm connecting into that, and I'm connecting into the guides who said, yeah, do that podcast with Amy. You'll like it. It'll be good. She'll like it. Everybody will like it. We hope. So I've got that guide and, two guides behind me, and I'm saying, okay, let's make this go right. Let's make this right for everybody who's listening. And I know that they are helping me and making sure that I say the right thing. So that's part of what we do. And it's like that a bit in the meetings, with the Air Force and the Treasury. And my guy, will be there behind me, and the other guys may not see them. But I'll be sort of saying, now we've got to get this right, guys, help. And the right words at the right moment to the right person at the right time would come through. Does that make sense, Amy? Have I dribbled too much?
No, it makes sense with spiritual intelligence, which is the main theme of Create Magic at Work, is this faith neutral system that you can skill build in with these elevated leadership skills for the workplace. That's the main, one of the main tools of my coaching practice. One of the skills, or kind of like an overarching theme and skill, is to be able to put your ego aside and tap into your higher self, your inner wisdom, or because, it is a faith neutral system. If you believe in a higher power, if you believe whatever that higher power it is, whatever religion you follow, tapping into that. So you're making decisions from a space of wisdom and compassion and love. And you just illustrated in this beautiful story and example of how you do that with who your higher power is, or your higher self, in that moment where you're saying, let me show up, let me put my ego aside, let's have a message that resonates with everyone that's listening. So really you illustrated skill 13 in the SQ21, the spiritual intelligence, which is to practice operating from higher self, and then skill 16, which is to seek guidance, practice seeking guidance from higher self. And that's your particular way that you do that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I teach something very similar to my clients and my students too. I teach them how to do this right from word go, from the very first session, which I think you do too, don't you?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. I often start my clients off with the SQ21 assessment. It kind of gives you a blueprint of what level you're sitting at in all of the 21 skills. And really, it makes no difference what score you come back in, level 0 to level 5. It really is just a foundation for rich conversation, for transformation and growth. So I'm curious, on that note, what are some of the tools that you use in your practice with business leaders?
Yeah, firstly, the first thing I do with them is I take them through a connection journey meditation, which is a reconnection between planet Earth and our star, the sun. And we don't connect. I mean, the Earth is just a ball of rock that's sailing around, third rock from the sun, sailing around the sun. And it's great to have it here. I don't really think about it. Yes, it gives me my food. It gives me my oxygen, I suppose. I think. Does it? Yeah, I'm not sure. And that's how most people are with it. And the sun is this great big ball of fire in the sky, and you're very pleased when it shines, and you're less pleased when it gets hidden by cloud. But you've got no more feeling for those two, and they are energies to me. And in physics, I'm also married to a particle physicist who gives me quantum with the cornflakes for the past umpteen years. And talking with him, how the sun works is all energy. How the earth works and what it is all energy. Now, energy is, he feels, I feel, and I've talked with quite a lot of really good scientists, he knows, energy is what we all are. We happen to be physical. I can touch myself and squeeze my finger. I can pick up my solid crystal. But it's only energy that's going slower than the incredible energy which is enabling us to speak across the ocean through the internet. But its energy is just working at a different speed. So I help people to connect back to Mother Earth, as we say, and Father Sun. I've never had, in 30 years, I've never had somebody who didn't do it. They might be quite nervous when they start off, but so I'm quite good at taking them through. It's a led journey, so they're not left on their own to try and do it. And they come out and they go, oh my goodness, I feel so peaceful. I feel so still. Instead of having everything in my face, I feel I've got perspective. Everything's moved out again. So I say, right, you're going to go away and do that every day, morning and evening, please, until our next meeting, which is usually the next week. And once they've done this, they find other things start happening. And they might remember, a recent client has, she's known since she was a little girl, she's known there was a raven in her life. And sometimes it becomes a physical raven, and sometimes she just knows there's a raven in her life. And since she started working with me a month ago, I'm getting raven. I'm realizing that, it sounds really weird, and I don't know quite how to do it, Ellen, but I think raven's talking to me. And so, I'm there sort of nodding sagely with a grin on my face going, yep, that's right. That's what happens. And I've had, one of my funniest was a stockbroker do this. And he started working with me at the beginning of COVID. When everything went to pieces, he no longer had an office in the city. Everybody had to learn to do on Zoom, etc., blah, all that stuff. And he found it and he said, I realized when I was a little boy, I had this like imaginary friend. At least that's what my parents called it. And now I'm feeling it again. And he was quite scared because he thought, I'm going nuts. And so we took him through that. So people start to get to know what I call your spirit team. And usually one of them turns up. And in American traditions a lot, I believe they call them power animals. We call them our familiar spirit, which is like your best buddy. And it isn't part of you. It's something that has been with you, if you believe in it, as many lifetimes as you want. And it's an advisor. And it may or may not take on a particular form, like a raven, or it may be like an imaginary friend, or whatever. And you start not worrying about having this and actually start listening. And as it goes on, it usually takes, a recent client, it took him 4 weeks to get there. He's an AI inventor. He creates AI things. And it took him 4 weeks to get there. And he said, I've got these people around me. And he started to come up with names for them, which I hadn't given him. And he discovered that he's Scottish. And so they have a slightly different tradition to mine. And they were names from the Gaelic stories of his past, which he'd never actually heard. And he said, is there somebody called the Dagda? Because this thing keeps coming and saying it's the Dagda. Said, yes, there is. Yes. Can I look it up? Yeah, you can look it up on Google, but we'll talk about it as well because Google's a bit wishy-washy in what it usually has to say, like Wikipedia. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't, sort of thing. And so people start to gain a spirit team around them. And then they start to find that part of that spirit team is particularly into teaching them how to ask, how to listen, how to notice. And one of the big things, which has been very heavy for me the past few weeks and clients and for myself, is to sit still, to sit with. So, I think I ought to do this by tomorrow, but I don't know which way to go. And I don't know what I'm doing. And you say, well, just calm down. Ask for the next step and see where you go. And then when you've got to the next step, to the next step. But I can't see my whole future in front of me. Well, no, yes, you won't do that. It's not like that. Life is not like that. I mean, I'm a gardener as well. And people say a garden is a work in progress, a continuous work in progress. Well, so is life. And so actually is your business.
Love that.
So you have to...
I was just having a vision when you were speaking. I wonder if you picked up on it when you were sharing that. I was thinking you can't plant seeds in the ground and expect flowers the next day. It's a line
Yeah.
from a poem that is actually in the Create Magic at Work magazine fall edition right now, which is available download for free on the website. And then when I was thinking that, you started talking about gardening. So we're so in sync right now. I just wanted to share that.
That's
And
beautiful.
with the step, yeah, you can't plant seeds and expect in the ground and expect flowers the next day. And I think especially in America, that's kind of, you know, the grind, the go-getting, the climbing the corporate ladder, if you will. And when you were talking about people wanting to know the whole journey, you know, every step of the way, and what is it going to look like at the end, it really robs us of enjoying the journey. And I love your story of just, let's tap in to whatever we believe in, to, you know, higher self, higher power, and let's just maybe look for the next step.
Yes.
And then after that step, maybe the next step will appear. And that takes a lot of faith. When I left my corporate executive position, I was planning to leave my position for a year. And I left my office and I went to a little store on my lunch break, and there was a magnet that said leap and the net will appear. It just, you know, shot out at me. And I said, oh my gosh, I need to buy this. And so I bought it and I put it on I still have it on my refrigerator to this day. Leap and the net will appear. And I came up with this rhyme affirmation that was like, hope and faith over worry and fear, leap and the net will appear.
Yes.
And I share that you know, just thinking of maybe not the net, but in your stair story, hope and faith over worry and fear, look for the next step and it will appear.
It's a big pain point that a lot of my clients have is, you know, I've got stress, I've got overwhelm, I've got too many choices to make, all of this stuff, because you're worrying too far ahead. And so often it becomes that. And if you step back, you know, and leap, or step back first, breathe, leap, you find yourself on the next step. And then you can see a little further and a little further. And that is very much part of British shamanism. I think probably all shamanism, that you take the next step and then the next step. And you don't have this sort of inner need, want thing that says, I must know the next, I must know everything now. And so you stop dreaming for the impossible, you stop reaching for it. And it makes a difference.
Yeah, and enjoying that one step that you're on. Like, what would be the word that you would write on that step before you that it was in your journey before you step to the next one?
Stop, stand still, and breathe.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, peace, trust. What would you say to someone listening that just, I've been doing a lot of corporate workshops lately with people and exercises, and a lot of the energy that people are expressing or that they feel a bit overwhelmed. So we'll do some activities to reframe that, change that, shift that. What would you say to someone listening right now that feels really, really overwhelmed with maybe something that they're going through in their career, business? Maybe they're stressed about finances. What would be one thing that you would share that maybe they could shift a little bit?
Well, one of the things I send out sometimes to people when they DM me or call me or something is it's a very much shortened and smaller version of this Earth Sun journey, which is about 25 minutes long. But it's almost like just go outside, go somewhere you like, a tree, a place, a view, a cliff top, a beach, whatever turns you on. And just sit there alone and listen to what's around you. Look at what's around you. if you can, feel it with your fingers. Put your hands on the earth, on the tree bark, on the sand, whatever. Feel it. Smell what's in the air around you. And air has a taste. So taste that too. And you will focus in on those things. And that gives you space. Because you're focusing in on something special and small and individual, that gives you space. It moves everything outside. And in an ordinary physical way, your muscles relax. You'll probably get dopamine stuff feeding into you, which will be nice. You'll start breathing more slowly. Your stomach might even settle down. And so everything will just move out and stop invading your space, and you'll feel yourself back in your space. And then you'll be able to decide what to do with the overwhelm. And it'll be your decision. You just say, right, I don't know why I'm worrying about that. Doesn't matter. Right, now I really must get on with that. So I will do. I'll phone so-and-so immediately, as soon as I get up off the beach. And you will know. And then once you know what you're doing for your next step, you take it and everything else starts to flow. So get in touch again with nature, get in touch with your planet, get in touch with the light and the warmth and the air around you. And it really is relaxing. It really is releasing of those worries that your head is full of.
That's a great example tip that anyone can try, right? To just tap into some clarity when you're feeling overwhelmed. It sounds so simple, yet we put that off to, well, I don't have enough time, or I'll do that tomorrow if I have time. And so I think what I'd like to share for everyone listening is take Elen's tip and make the time and just see what happens when you tap into clarity in that way. So one more question before I pull a card. Yeah, 5 minutes. There you go. Yeah. Doesn't have to be 25 minutes.
No, it does not. No.
You mentioned that your husband is a quantum physicist?
He's a particle physicist. Yeah, he was. He's retired now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we talk about quantum leadership a lot on the Create Magic at Work podcast. So I'm curious if you would like to share what is your definition of a quantum leader?
Well, I know that quantum means the most infinitesimally small change in the world, in the universe. That is what quantum is. Tiny, tiny, tiny little steps. And they do make a difference. So my idea of I don't really have an idea of a quantum leader, I suppose, except someone who is careful and noticing each of the steps that they take, someone who notices and walks each step instead of running over a bit and tripping over because he didn't see that rock in the way. So a quantum leader will be going step, 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 and being very conscious of everyone. And that's how it will be for me.
I love that. Walking with intention, making each step we take with our business decisions, thinking about how they're going to affect others as they ripple out. Love that. Love it. Okay, I'm going to pull a card from my journal prompt card deck, which everyone can get a copy of the deck at createmagicatwork.net in the shop. It's from a deck of 33 cards, and each card has a theme for your career, an affirmation, and some coaching questions. So let's see what we got for today. We got success. Yay! We got a fun one today. I'm so excited.
Well, if that's for me, thank you very much indeed.
For everyone that's listening, for you, And anytime you hear this, even if it's later on down and old, if this is an old recording by now and you're listening, this message is for you. So success. I celebrate success and I welcome abundance of all forms into my life. Ellen, I would like to hear from you to share with me and the listeners. You've already shared quite a bit, but what is something you haven't shared yet? What are some ways that we can experience pleasure in our life?
It sounds really simple, and we hear it all the time in platitudes. And I was talking with a friend about it this morning, and she said, we're all told, just be you. And it's the hardest thing in the world to be, particularly when you are not alone. But be you and find someone you really are in tune with to help you be you, to be your person beside, your co-pilot, who will, call you out, push you on, cuddle you most of all, and help you to be you. Because being you is heaven. That is heaven.
Thank you. It does feel scary at times. That's one of the biggest things that you can do as an edge walker in the risk-taking skill is to be your authentic self in any space and put all the masks down. But I guess the inner peace that comes from that is what really helps you tap into that success feeling. That's success, right?
Yes.
That I'm at peace with who I am in any space and I'm showing up. Yeah. Ellen, thank you so much for being a guest today. If people want to connect with you more and learn more about what you do and work with you, how can they connect with you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And if you type Elen Sentier into Google, loads of ways of meeting me come up then. My website is elensentier.com. And I love meeting people. So, call me, DM me, whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, I love your LinkedIn profile. I mean, it is just, I love it. So if you want to check out Ellen's LinkedIn, go check it out. I love her profile. And of course, we put everything in the show notes so people listening could just go click on it right away. Ellen, thank you for helping send some magic to everyone today.
Well, magic to all of you because we all need it and it's beautiful. And thank you very much, Amy. That was really good. I loved it.
Hey everyone, Amy here. I am so excited to share this news with you. If you've been a longtime listener of the podcast, or even if you're new, you probably know that I weave spiritual intelligence through all of the episodes of Create Magic at Work. And we often talk about where you are at with making wise and compassionate decisions, what it looks like to be a wise and effective change agent. How do I put my ego aside and operate from my higher self? And if you've ever been curious as to what level you're sitting at in your life in those skills, I have some great news for you. I have loaded the SQ21 assessment on the Create Magic at Work website. This is something that only my private clients have access to in a coaching partnership with me. However, I have decided to give everyone access to the SQ21 assessment at a generous price, a small fee. You can take the assessment at createmagicatwork.net/shop, and you will get a printout that you can take with you the rest of your life as to where you're sitting, what level you're sitting at in the 21 skills of spiritual intelligence. This is an amazing opportunity. I encourage you to take advantage of it. Again, if you've ever been listening to all of the past episodes like, I wonder where I sit at making wise and compassionate decisions, or I wonder where I sit at being able to access my higher self, explore that curiosity and go to the website and take the assessment. I will also have that link dropped in the show notes so it's easily accessible to you here after the episode. And again, if you have any questions or if you just want to have a chat with me, I'm always available for a complimentary 30-minute coffee chat, so you can explore that as well. But get over to the website, take that assessment, and give yourself the gift of something that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Sending magic to you. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming back every week to listen to a new episode of Create Magic at Work and really helping to support and advocate for healthy leaders, workplaces, and lives for all of us. If you want any information on how to connect with me, click on the link in the show notes. You'll get access to all of the social media links for Create Magic at Work. Stay following along for more amazing episodes where we help you improve productivity and profitability in the workplace and decrease stress. Sending magic to everyone, and see you next time.